Muy buenas a todos, señores, señoritas, animales y lo que haya por ahí. Aquí estamos en otro vídeo de Genshin Impact. Vamos a comenzar haciendo el alba de las 1000 rosas epílogo. Que esto forma parte de la misión que estábamos haciendo de Arconte, pero ya es el final. Así que bueno, a ver. Catherine. Oy, ¿qué estará pasando aquí? Sí.
Catherine was acting weird when we met at the Sub-Zero's festival. And Dunyarzad, did you save her? It's a really long story. We shouldn't disturb her. Her consciousness is still weakened.
Sí.
Let's chat somewhere else. How about by the traveler's favorite bench?
De acuerdo. Hay que hablar con Naida, pero justamente... pues... ahí. Vale, pues ya... quedará una misión de Arconte más. Señores, estamos cerquita ya de terminarlas. Qué bonito, por favor. Ah, vale, que se pone automáticamente.
Let's talk about Dunyarzad first. It's such a relief that she's all right.
Sí.
After we parted on the last day of the Sub-Zero's festival, I left the city and saw what the traveler had described. Among the countless dreams, I found one that was growing fainter and fainter. This proved my suspicion. Once Dunyarzad could no longer bear the Akasha harvesting her dreams, her consciousness began to dissipate. But this also meant it escaped the Akasha's control. Such a small fragment of consciousness can't last for very long, though. It will return to its original dream, where both will gradually fade until they completely disappear. I used all the power I had to keep her dying dream alive as long as possible. But it still wouldn't have lasted for much longer if it hadn't been for you two breaking the samsara. So it looks like we did manage to save Dunyarzad in the end. Not a moment.
Es un verdadero milagro.
Huh? Why are you two smiling so happily? I thought you'd be so moved that you'd start crying. I need to spend more time observing human emotions. Both are fine. Everyone reacts differently. All right. You two must have a lot of other questions for me, right? After all, you saved my faithful believer. As your reward, I will
Sobre lo que viene
ese
sueño en el bosque Avidya.
At the Avidya forest, there was this incense that made the traveler fall unconscious and dream of a huge tree and a red sky. You also heard someone's voice, right? It said world and forget me. Yeah, so you do know. We've been wanting to ask you what that was about, and if the red sky was related to Conria. It seems like the traveler established a connection to Irminsul. That was a message left by Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul. Perhaps her last memory before she died. As you two probably know, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared after the disaster in Conria. The timings of these events do line up, so your suspicions are reasonable. A message from Greater Lord Rukkhadevata? We thought it was from King Deshret. King Deshret? That god who died even longer ago? Some present-day desert dwellers still worship him. You probably just heard some of their conspiracies. Okay, so what does the message mean? I still haven't managed to decipher it. Even the Akasha isn't currently capable of doing. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul seems to be contaminated with something that has a very dangerous aura to it. Many devoted scholars go mad as soon as they connect their consciousness. I've warned the academia about this many times, but people still keep falling victim to it. But I believe this is the key to saving Irminsul. That's why I've kept trying to decipher it. So the tree in the vision was Irminsul? Oh, Tainari also said that Irminsul is sick. Is it because of the contaminated consciousness? But even if you can't figure out what that vision was all about, it seems like our search for you was all in vain. The traveler wasn't affected after coming in contact with that consciousness. I've never seen anyone like that. With you here, we may have a chance at deciphering it. No, we must decipher its secrets. I've already eliminated all other factors that might affect Irminsul. This is the only one left. This puzzle has life and death at stake. It could determine Irminsul's fate, as well as to that.
¿Por qué te ves como Catherine?
To be accurate, I'm using the Akasha as a medium to occupy Catherine's consciousness. How did you do that? Poor Catherine. Does this mean you can also occupy other people's consciousnesses? Theoretically, I can enter anyone's mind as long as they're wearing their Akasha terminal. The Akasha is the legacy of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. As Lesser Lord Kusanali and the first Akasha terminal, my consciousness has always been linked to the Akasha. I've always respected my people's free will, so I've never actually occupied their consciousness. When necessary, I just borrow this bionic Snezhnayan puppet.
Bueno, cuidado, ahí se ve y se demuestra que Catherine es un robot. Por eso están todas las regiones a la vez. Solo tomo prestada esta marioneta biónica de Snezhnaya.
Hold on. Did we just learn some deep, dark secret? So Catherine is... No.
Sí, habían teorías, sobre esto. Habían teorías años atrás.
What about your own body? Why do you need to borrow other people's? Don't you live in the sanctuary of Surasthana? That story begins a long time ago. After Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared, the sages found my newly born self and took me back to Sumeru. At that time, I was young and weak. The sages kept me in the sanctuary of Surasthana, ostensibly for the sake of protecting me. But I've hardly heard from them since. However, I do understand that they had hoped to find Greater Lord Rukkhadevata instead of me, a symbol of her passing. So, the sages basically put their new Archon under house arrest? How dare they! Why don't you teach them a lesson, Nahida? In some ways, they aren't wrong. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata was omniscient and omnipotent. Even after her death, the Akasha is still empowering this nation. And I'm still really far away from being able to call myself the God of Wisdom. Moreover, the Academia is also more proficient at governing this country.
Para mí ya eres una excelente Arconte y punto.
You got a lot of believers. Just look at the Sub-Zero's festival. Everyone who showed up truly loves you. Thank you for the kind words. But I honestly don't need physical freedom as long as I can connect my consciousness to the Akasha. Trying to find a way to save Irminsul is my life's mission and top priority. I will work on that, and try to live up to being a deity in the meantime. Every once in a while, I will also take up the duties of the God of Wisdom and enlighten a lost soul here and there. Doing all that should be enough.
¿Qué planean los
There's
sabios?
never been any big problems with the Academia's governance of Sumeru. This is the first time I've seen them step out of line. I wonder what caused them to go down this path, and what they hope to achieve. Even though the city's residents haven't noticed anything strange, if the traveler hadn't broken the Sub-Zero samsara, the situation could have become dire. I tried to do some investigating in the Akasha, but I couldn't find anything suspicious. And all the people of interest seem to purposely avoid wearing their Akasha terminals. I think they're deliberately trying to hide something. Oh, that reminds Paimon. In Gandharvaville, there was a sage who had invited Kainari to join some kind of project. Could it be related? Regardless, I need to first investigate the sage's motives, make things right, and punish them if needed. But I'll have to be discreet.
¿Nadie se ha dado cuenta del problema con el Akasha?
How the Akasha stops you from having dreams? Yeah, it's been such a long time. No one's noticed something's up? It's not that no one noticed. It's more like no one cared. Ultimately, it's all rooted in the sage's misdirection. Misdirection? The sages convinced everyone to believe that being unable to dream is a sign of rationality and wisdom. Not dreaming is a badge of honor in Sumeru, even if the truth is that their dreams are being reaped by the Akasha. With their propaganda in place, the sages can maximize their use of the Akasha to facilitate their research. Besides, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata must have created the Akasha in the hopes that it could be used to its full potential. That's why I've never come out strongly against... Anyway, the perspective advocated by the sages drowned out any voices of doubt. By now, Even those who never use Akasha terminals find it too shameful and embarrassing to talk
No
about
tengo más
it. Got it.
preguntas.
I hope my answers were satisfactory, seekers of knowledge. To be honest, maintaining Dunyarzad's fading dream took a lot of mental energy. I think I may need to rest for a while. Oh, and you don't need to worry too much about the Sage's activities for now. The Akasha won't be able to conduct another project on the scale of the Sub-Zero Samsara in the immediate future. Go and get some sleep. Leave everything to us. What a relief. This is truly the most exhausting birthday I've ever had.
Traveler? Paimon? Why am I here? Do either of you know?
Maybe you were sleepwalking. You know you can't wake up a sleepwalker. We happened to walk by, so we thought we'd wait for you to wake up.
I see. Huh. I should visit my maintenance personnel sometime. Oh, I'm fine. I better go. Thank you.
Pues ya está, ahora sí, definitivamente.
We spent quite some time in Sumeru City, but ever since we last said goodbye to Lesser Lord Kusanali, we haven't heard anything from her. Oh, we can't just keep waiting around like this. Let's go find Catherine and pick up some work so we can at least keep ourselves busy.
De acuerdo. Vale, pues quimeras, ilusiones y engaños. Esta es capítulo 3, acto 3 ya. Qué maravilla, ¿no? Qué jodida maravilla, tío. De acuerdo. Uy, el reclutamiento del regimiento de los 30. Buah. No estoy seguro, pero quiero hacer la misión que me permite acceder a los encargos diarios, tío. Estoy por hacer esta misión porque no sé si era esta. Primero voy a coger estas cajitas. Aunque aquí tengo el 100% en el Bosque Villa, pero estas cajas también suman porcentaje. Oye, se están pegando tirones, tío. Espabila, jodido juego. Espabila, tío. Despierta ya y deja de dar por culo, tío. Tío, es que es asqueroso que se peguen tirones. No se puede estar jugando tranquilamente ya, nene. Vale, a ver. Bueno, vamos a empezar un poquito lo que es como un héroe triunfante. Quimeras, ilusiones y engaños. Habla con Catherine de Sumeru, ¿de acuerdo? Por lo tanto, aquí. Y vamos a ver qué nos cuenta. Veamos qué ocurre aquí. Ya es la última, creo.
Ad Astra Avisask. We meet again, you two.
Hi, Catherine. Do you have any commissions for us today?
Commissions, huh? Let me think. Oh, how about this? Please attend the Academia's Academic Symposium this afternoon and recite a love poem on stage.
Wait, say what now?
And if possible, please also use your camera to capture the reaction of the audience upon finishing the poem.
Huh? What kind of commission is that?
Solo de pensarlo me muero de vergüenza.
I see. It appears that you're not interested in this commission. In that case, please go to Port Ormos and convince the Eremites there to spend some time volunteering at the local orphanage.
Hey, that's not any better.
Nos darían una paliza, ¿verdad?
I'm sure the mercenaries will have some interesting reactions.
Paimon's gotta ask. Just who exactly has been submitting these commissions to the Adventurers Guild?
Oh, the commissioner? Well, actually, I just wanted to see the two of you in action.
Eres Naida, ¿cierto?
Was it so obvious? I was hoping you would actually take one of those commissions. That kind of chance to observe humans doesn't come by often. Ah, so it's Nahida. Paimon just knew Catherine wouldn't crack those kinds of jokes. When did you get into her head? From when she said, Ad Astra Abisask. So it's been you this whole time? Are you done resting up, Nahida? Yes. I've been sleeping ever since we parted ways, and I even had a really, really long dream.
¿Qué soñaste?
It was another dream about the Sub-Zero's festival, except it was a happy one. In my dream, I was sitting in the middle of a flower terrace, and everyone in Sumeru City was holding hands as they danced in circles around me. I also got to sit on a gigantic flower carriage. Ferris, the Knight of Flowers, raised me really, really high above the ground, and I was throwing an endless amount of Yalda candies at the children.
You know, Nahida, maybe your dream is how the Sub-Zero's festival really should be. It's meant to be a joyous time where everyone gets together to celebrate your birthday.
Pero en realidad...
Huh? Wasn't I describing a really happy dream? Why are you both looking at me like that? Wait, could this be an example of the emotion known as pity?
No, we aren't pitying you. That would only make everything worse. We just don't want you to feel too sad. By the way, have you had a chance to visit Dunyarzad? How's she doing? The Homianis haven't allowed any visitors after the festival, so we haven't been able to check on her.
Yes, I paid her a visit right after I woke up. She was resting at the time. Her condition is stabilized. However, since Elazar is a manifestation of the withering on the human body, we can only cure it by finding a way to take care of Irminsul's own withering. But for the moment, our top focus should still be figuring out what the sages are up to and what they're planning.
Right. Who knows what'll happen if they manage to pull off another scheme like the Samsara of the Sub-Zero's festival.
So our first priority should be investigating and putting a stop to the sages' activities. As for how we should pull that off, let's discuss it somewhere else. There are too many adventurers around here.
Oh, good point. Sorry, adventurers. We're gonna be borrowing Catherine for a little while.
Bueno, quimeras, ilusiones y engaños. Así es como se llama la misión. Y ya estamos cerquita del final. Bueno, hay que ir... Por lo visto hay que ir aquí. Vale, está cerquita, está cerquita.
Let's continue our
A
chat
ver.
here.
Sí, continuemos.
Okay, so do you have any ideas on how we can investigate the sages, Nahida?
Actually, I've already done a little bit of work on that. But for now, I want to hear your thoughts.
¿Quieres poseer directamente a una figura clave de la academia?
I've already tried that. But all the key members of the academia, even the core of 30 guards, intentionally avoid wearing their Akasha terminals. It seems that from the very beginning, they've been guarding against info leaks from the Akasha. Of course, it could also be because they're wary of me.
Have you already caught the sages' attention?
I'm guessing not yet. But distrusting me would make perfect sense if they've ever paid attention to the urban legends about me. In any case, I probably can't take over their minds directly.
¿Vas a poseer a un estudiante y colarte en las oficinas de los sabios?
No way, that's too risky.
You mean it'd be too easy to get caught?
No, it's not that. We shouldn't involve innocent students in this. A single mistake could completely ruin their lives. Doing that would be ignoring the safety of my people for my own selfish goals. How is that any different from what the sages are doing?
That's a good point. Spoken like the god of Sumeru.
¿Qué tal si tomamos a alguien cercano a un sabio y lo
I'm in
interrogamos?
the dark as of now. Since we still don't know anything about their goals, any rash move could tip them off and lead to terrible consequences. After all, every person in Sumeru City is one of their hostages.
No se me ocurre nada más.
Are we really out of ideas? Nahida, you're super smart, so you already have something in mind, right? Don't keep us in suspense. Spill the...
According to
A
a
ver.
popular theory from the Vahumana Darshan of the academia, rejecting impractical motions at the beginning of a planning session will give more weight to the actual proposal.
Okay, but aren't you the god of wisdom? You don't have to use that kind of gimmick to make us take your ideas seriously.
Well, I've been thinking that if I can't directly possess the leaders, and if I can't get ordinary people involved, then I should find someone who's already involved, but hasn't decided to side with the sages.
You're saying we should recruit a spy? That does sound like it could work. Oh, before coming back, we met someone named Al-Haytham.
Es verdad,
He seems like
el
he
famoso
acts alone,
Alcén.
and he likes doing stuff behind the academia's back. They probably aren't in cahoots.
Actually, I already have someone in mind. Do you still remember that female scholar named Sataria?
Sataria. Paimon remembers now. Isn't she the one who's always trailing behind the Grand Sage of the Academia? We ran into her basically every time the Sub-Zero's festival repeated itself. You could even say we're old enemies by... Paimon still remembers the smug and mean way she always spoke to Nilou.
Mm-hmm. I've always liked observing all kinds of people, and Setaria has always stood out from the crowd. She was born in the desert and was hailed as their greatest genius. Her academic gifts allowed her special admission into the academia, and also gave her the opportunity to serve as the sage's assistant.
Oh, Paimon didn't know she was from the desert. She must be pretty special then.
Sí.
Paimon feels like most of the desert dwellers around the city are working as mercenaries.
The name Setaria means star. When she lived in the desert, she shone like the brightest star in the night sky. Later on, she was chosen by the sun. The star was given a place in the daytime sky to complement the sun's dazzling light. Soon after, the star witnessed the sun scorching the earth, which brought forth many disasters. The star began to waver. Instead of staying beside such a sun, wouldn't it be better to return and light up part of the night sky? But in the end,
Puede
she
ser.
couldn't give up the radiance of daytime. To cope with her shame, the star buried her guilt and closed her eyes.
Eso es lo que realmente piensa Setaria, ¿cierto?
From the sound of it, Setaria's just hung up on the research opportunities here. But she doesn't really support the academia. She still feels guilty about not doing more for the desert, right? She's just running away from her problems.
Indeed. When they are presented with complex moral issues, many people will simply plug their ears and go with the flow until the problem can't be fixed anymore. She's suppressing a lot of guilt, but before she realized it, she had already become the sage's accomplice.
Parece que la
She
entidad
can't
te
get
da,
right.
sí.
We must somehow make her face her problems again. That way, not only can we get useful intel from her, but she can also use it as an opportunity to redeem herself. From my past observations, Setaria will take a day off from the academia every 10 days to do some shopping in the city. Tomorrow afternoon just happens to be a shopping day for her. That'll be our chance. To prepare, let's go check out some of her favorite spots, and have a quick chat with a few of the vendors there.
Bueno, bien, por fin. Vale, aquí hay un brillo, ¿eh? Estoy por hacerlo porque esta misión es oculta. Como un héroe triunfante, ¿de acuerdo? Bueno, estamos en esta misión todavía, obviamente. Y hay que ir ahí. Vale, voy a intentar quitar, porque creo que esto es una misión secreta. Voy a hacer el ritual. En principio ocurre tras superar la misión de Arconte. Por cierto, voy a quitarme esto que es de un evento temporal que hay actualmente. Voy a ponerme el daguerrotipo mismo. De acuerdo, venga, vamos a ver. Bueno, pues en principio aquí hay una misión oculta que creo que aparece tras superar al menos la segunda misión de Arconte, ¿de acuerdo? En la ciudad de Sumero, en el tablón de anuncios, investigar, le vamos a dar ahí. Cuando el día da el relevo al siguiente día del puente puede verse la silueta apresurada del faro terminando de trabajar. ¿Qué es esto? ¿Un acertijo? ¿Un proverbio o algo así? ¿El día que da el relevo al siguiente día? ¿La silueta que termina de trabajar? ¿No eres tú el viajero? ¿También te interesan los acertijos del señor Drusus? ¿Esto de verdad es un acertijo? Y ahí está. Este acertijo lo puso el señor Drusus, un erudito de la Academia de Sumeru. Hasta donde yo sé es considerado un excéntrico incluso en la Academia de Sumeru. Lo que más le gusta hacer es hablar de acertijos e investigar todo tipo de métodos de encriptación. Pero a veces sus acertijos son demasiado difíciles de comprender, por lo que no hay mucha gente que esté dispuesta a hablar con él. Por eso se le ocurrió la idea de recompensar a quienes resuelvan sus acertijos. No puedo mover la cámara. En pocas palabras, lo que indica en realidad este acertijo es la ubicación de un tesoro. Para obtenerlo solo hay que llegar en el momento justo al lugar correcto y usar el método adecuado. El señor Drusus también señaló que todos los tesoros están ubicados dentro de la ciudad de Sumeru. Pero como pueden ver, ningún aventurero ha conseguido descifrar este acertijo aún. Si les interesa también pueden intentarlo ustedes. Pero si quieren que les diga mi opinión, será mejor que vayan a hacer algo más productivo. De acuerdo, pues es como una especie de acertijo que nos puede llevar a algo. De acuerdo, desde el puente puede verse la silueta apresurada del faro terminando de trabajar. Ahí está el acertijo. No creo que nos diga nada más, pero bueno, esto, vale, no es una misión oculta, sino que es algo secreto. Bueno, no sé si este tío nos dirá algo más. Pero bueno, de momento habla de un puente, de un faro. Ya se verá, ¿de acuerdo? De momento que se queda así el tema. Pero bueno, esto lo guardaré aparte porque seguramente será importante. Vale, pues vamos a ver qué hay por aquí.
This should be Sataria's favorite fortune-telling spot. So should we ask the fortune teller about Sataria? No, I already have enough information on Sataria. The most important thing now is for you to pay attention to the vendor's talking style and key characteristics. Talking style and key characteristics?
My poor lost lambs. Have you become troubled over your fate? The divine voice of wisdom often echoes between mine ears. If thou be blessed today by the gods, I may be able to show you the way.
Huh? Really? Nahida, you've been whispering things to her?
Shh. My friend here has some doubts regarding his future. Can we get a fortune reading for him?
Of course, of course. In that case... It would seem that Harut and Marut are quite wary of you. Perhaps, at some time in the past, you have somehow offended the gods.
Only mocking the god of Animo, questioning the lord of Geo's financial savviness, and brawling with the god of Electro. Do those count?
Jejeje.
Oh, nothing. Go on, pick an aspect for her to divine.
A ver, sobre mi vida amorosa.
Love prospects? No problem at all. The gods have spoken. The truth shall be revealed. One who is fated to cross your path will appear on... Huh? So many people will fall for you. How could that be? Harut, Marut, did you two spoil my divination? I've never read a fortune so absurd.
La culpa, claro, para los gatos.
Actually,
¿Cómo no?
Paimon thinks this is probably the most accurate fortune-telling you've ever done.
I admit that the orientation of today's celestial matrix is suboptimal. As such, there will be no charge.
Is that so? Well, that can't be helped.
If you were to bring some food offerings for Harut and Marut on your next visit, perhaps they could help you reverse the wheels of fate.
Vale. Reúne información. Bueno, pues vamos a seguir. Esta vez toca a Kim. A ver, a Kim, bonito.
Is this another one of Sataria's favorite stalls? Yep. It belongs to a king. His father helped Sataria a lot when she first moved to Samari City, so she still comes by whenever she has time. When I start talking with him, listen carefully to the details of our conversation.
De acuerdo.
Ah, dear customers. Would you like to look at some pottery?
We caught wind of your great craftsmanship, so we specifically came to take a look.
Oh, I recognize you. Aren't you Miss Catherine from the Adventurers Guild? Sounds like I'm in for some big business.
Speaking of, where did you learn this trade?
I suppose you could say it all started with my dad. He's a mason by trade, but I picked up an interest in clay while apprenticing for him. After that, I began making pottery by myself in secret. And I simply changed trades when my works turned out well. Although it's a pity that I'm no longer making much use of the knowledge provided to me by the Akasha.
That's nice. You're making a living doing something you love.
So is your father still working as a mason?
Oh no, not anymore. A few years back, he fell from a roof and broke his leg. Since he had already saved enough mora over all these years, he's just enjoying the retired life in Port Ormos now.
I see. We wish him peace and happiness in his retirement. I'll have someone in charge of logistics at the guild come by another day for some goods. We'll leave you to it.
No problem. Rest easy, all our goods are sure.
De acuerdo, amigo. Reúne información. Vale, ahora toca ahí. Perfecto. Chishan.
This should be our final stop. Sataria's always thinking of this restaurant when she's working at the academia, so she always comes by whenever she's out in the city.
De acuerdo.
You've really thought of everything.
It's my duty to protect Sumer's citizens after...
Hi there. I feel like I've seen you down by the docks before.
Huh? Sorry, I don't quite remember.
If I recall, you were having a discussion with someone about shipbuilding at the time.
Ah, that's right. I've always been really interested in feats of marine engineering. After all, I grew up in Liyue Harbor and spent my entire childhood staring at the ships going in and out of the port. I came to Sumeru to study, but failed to make it into the academia due to my lack of talent. But I'm still discussing all kinds of problems with different scholars, and I'm continuing to study and perform research from the restaurant's basement. I'm sure I'll get to the academia after their next round of exams.
What an admirable spirit for learning. Amazing.
Sure, but you'll find hardworking people wherever you go.
So this restaurant has a basement as well?
That's right. It's not usually open to patrons. Most of the time, employees use it for breaks or to hold private events.
I see. Yes, that makes sense. Well, good luck with your studies, Miss Chishan.
Thank you so much. As long as I can make it into the academia as an official student, I'll be happy.
De acuerdo, pues hay que hablar con Nahida, que está pues ahí arriba. Iba a estornudar, pero al final parece que no.
So, was that everybody?
Mm-hmm. 3 familiar faces should be enough for Sataria.
What's the point of all the information we've collected? Nahida, you still haven't told us how you're planning to make Sataria face her problems.
Sataria is already used to avoiding her problems, so we must find a way to break through her usual sensibilities. I remember you mentioned that the Eremites in Port Ormuz are all making a fuss about the upcoming resurrection of King Deshret. Although it's all just a boatload of nonsense, the fate of her homeland may turn out to be Sataria's soft spot.
Oh, Paimon gets it now! You want to take advantage of the guilt Sataria feels about her homeland. Although she knows she should return home to help the people of the desert, all she's done is conspire with the sages.
Si el rey Deshret demandara algo de ella...
So, how do we set that up?
Well, King Deshret is long gone, and Sataria is also too smart to fall for any simple tricks. If we simply engaged her under the guise of King Deshret's believers, she would definitely be wary of us. But if we were to borrow some of her close acquaintances to talk with her, her reaction would probably be very different.
So, you mean you're going to possess those people we just talked to?
Yep. Possess them through the Akasha. Imply they've already converted to the faith of King Deshret, and then convey our made-up will of King Deshret. As long as everything goes smoothly, we'll get through to Sataria for sure.
De acuerdo.
That's how you're going to use all the info we collected on these people. It's so that you won't slip up and break form. Possessing them will only work if you can manage to pass off as them.
Exactly. So, best of luck with impersonating them.
Huh? Best of luck? What? We don't know how to possess anyone.
That's no problem
De
at all.
momento no.
I'll just share all their senses with you once I've possessed them. As long as you're also wearing an Akasha terminal, the effect will basically be as if you've possessed them yourself.
Huh. That is pretty convenient. But why does he have to do this?
Although I've been observing humans for a while, I've never been good at imitating them.
You're not wrong. It's always been painfully obvious whenever you try to pass as Catherine.
Lo intentaré.
If it was at all possible, I would have preferred to leave these people alone. But seeing how things are now, I probably should just accept it and push on.
Yeah, don't beat yourself up over it. We're only doing this to help everyone, and we'll only be borrowing them for a little while anyway.
Alright, then let's give it a go tomorrow afternoon.
Pues habrá que esperar, supongo. Correcto, 12:18 del día siguiente. Pues nada. A ver, joder. Ahí, mira, justo. A las 12 en punto, chaval. Más clavado imposible. Bueno, pues hoy toca afeitarme. Pereza máxima. pero hay que hacerlo porque a veces estoy incómodo y toca. Y ya está. Sí, señor. De acuerdo. Entonces, tenemos que volver aquí y a ver qué tal. Día siguiente, ahí está la setaria. Y nosotros ahí.
Here she comes. Sataria's here. Let's quietly follow her. Once she starts talking to her acquaintances, we'll find a safe spot to begin possessing them. As for how we'll sway her to our side, I'll leave that to you.
Sí, y yo también.
I'm starting to feel kind of nervous. Okay, let's go. Looks like they've already started talking. Let's find a hiding spot and get started.
A ver dónde, porque... Ah, vale, ya se esconden automáticamente. Bueno, Illuminati, ¿no? Bueno.
That's right. You really can't force anything when it comes to love. And besides, everyone around me has a very different background and outlook.
What?
Are you still listening to me, Nabia?
Oh, of course I'm listening. You were talking about troubles with your love life, right? I heard everything you said.
Okay then. You just seemed a little distracted for a moment there. Strange. Your cats seem pretty worked up. Is something wrong? I always thought they were quiet, happy kitties. Oh, what are their names again?
Harut y Marut.
Ah, that's right. They are just...
Oye, si me hubiera equivocado, ¿o qué?
Harut and Marut.
So, which fortune do you want me to read for you today? You must have come for another echo of the divine voice.
I'd like to get another reading on my love prospects, but to be perfectly honest with you, I feel like I've been a real mess recently.
A mess?
Well, could you do a reading on how long it'll take me to finish my current project at work? I really just want to get it over with.
I hear you.
Paimon.
No problem at all. The gods will reveal the truth.
Los dioses han
The
hablado.
gods are asking, Setaria, why haven't you gone home?
Why haven't I gone home? Do the gods really know everything I've been thinking about?
Setaria, why don't you just go home? It's a demand now instead of a question. The gods seem to be truly upset.
I'm sorry. I know I failed the gods. Please pass on my most sincere apologies and ask for their divine forgiveness. And, if I may ask, Nabia, is there a specific god who's speaking to you right now?
Oh, es el momento.
What an inconsiderate and naive
Se ha roto ya
question.
esto.
The god who is speaking to me is, of course, the wisest and mightiest of all, King Deshret.
King Deshret? No wonder he would make such a demand of me. Wait a second. King Deshret passed away a long time ago. Even though news of King Deshret's resurrection has been spreading like wildfire, it's all just a misinformation campaign from the academia. How can King Deshret still exist
La
in real
resurrección
life?
del rey Deshret es una campaña de desinformación.
Insolence! I am King Deshret's most loyal believer. Do you wish to refute his voice of wisdom?
Oh, no. As a child of the desert, I am only reveling in his power upon learning that his divine glory has touched even this city. I will think very carefully about his demand of me. I'm sorry. I must go now.
Wait!
Bien hecho, Navilla. Se había roto ya la posesión. ¿Por qué le ha dado por mirar? Menos mal que no estábamos ahí, pero ¿por qué le ha dado por mirar, tío?
Oh, she just ran off in a hurry. She looked pretty upset too.
Well done. Setaria didn't seem to suspect anything amiss. To have something she's been trying desperately to avoid show up out of nowhere and berate her, that must have shaken her to the core.
Aw, Nahida,
It seems like you understand human emotions really well after all. All I know are some abstract Harvard-taught theories. And in any case, my time with you has shown a lot of them to be utterly useless. I'm still trying to make sense of everything. Anyway, enough of that. Let's hurry and catch up to Sataria.
Sí, venga, vamos.
She's at Akeem's now.
Ooh.
Right on cue. Let's get ready to possess him right away.
De acuerdo. Alma extracorpórea. Comparte tus sentidos con Nahida a través de su posesión de otra persona utilizando la Akasha. Pues ya está. Sí, señor. Y ahora venimos aquí. Está aquí al lado, además. De acuerdo. Bueno, a ver qué ocurre aquí, ¿eh? Vale, ahora es el otro, ¿no? No me acuerdo el nombre.
It's okay. I just got caught up in something. Oh, actually, didn't you ask me to help you look for work? What kind of work were you looking for again?
Quiero ser albañil.
Oh, right. Your old man's craft. How could I forget? Speaking of, how's he doing? Is he feeling any better?
Está mucho mejor. Incluso empieza a levantar cosas con los brazos.
Huh? Wasn't he nursing a leg injury? If I recall correctly, his
pues me he
strong
equivocado
arms had
ya.
always been his pride and joy.
He sprained his arm a while back while trying to show off his strength. I thought you'd heard.
Actually, while we're talking about him, is he still living in Port Ormos?
Yeah, he's been retired there for a while.
If you could find the time, please write him a letter. Let him know that recently, faith in King Deshret has taken root in Port Ormos and has begun to spread across Sumeru. He has a quick temper and has always been a devout follower of the Dendro Archon. I don't want him to get into a fight with those King Deshret believers because of—
Oh? So, who are you siding with in all of this? The Academia or King Deshret? I'm so jealous of you. You were born a child of the desert, yet you chose to betray King Deshret, and now you spend all your time with those crooks from the Academia.
Akeem, you don't mean you've also become a believer of King Deshret?
What's so strange about becoming a believer of the wise King Deshret? In fact, aren't you the strange one? The one who still can't pick a side?
Can't pick a side? Me?
Whoa. Paimon had no idea you'd be so good at this.
Madre mía. Antes de darme cuenta ya estaba metido de lleno en el
You really
papel.
zeroed in on the issue and put it right in front of her. It might feel a bit overwhelming for Sataria, but once everything is over, I'll be sure to pay her a visit to her mind and explain everything. Anyway, let's keep going.
Bueno, bien, sigamos. ¡Ay, mierda! No es momento de caerse. Sigue a Setaria.
Sataria's already started talking with Shishan.
De acuerdo. Bueno, a ver, el avance está siendo bueno. Lo que pasa es que me gustaría hacer algo más hoy, pero no sé si dará tiempo ya.
Have you noticed anything weird in the city lately? Like, as if someone was trying to preach to you about something?
No, paso todo mi tiempo libre estudiando en el ático.
Wait, did you just say attic? I thought this place didn't have an attic.
Vale, ser el sótano. Me
Also,
estoy equivocando.
don't
Creo que la
you
respuesta
study
correcta
in
es la
the
primera
basement?
siempre, tío.
Well, the restaurant recently added an attic. I've been studying there because it has better lighting. Oh, right.
Pero aunque te equivoques, por lo
Speaking
visto
of
es como que
strange
improvisan una
things,
respuesta y no pasa nada.
I celebrated the Sub-Zerus festival so many times that I lost count. That was really weird.
Wait, how could you be aware of that? That should be impossible. Nothing in the report indicated anything like that.
Are you still failing to realize that the Academia's lowly tricks could never deceive all of Sumeru's citizens?
Shishan, don't tell me that you've converted to King Deshret as well.
What an absurd question. You make it sound like I should be ashamed for becoming a believer of King Deshret. In reality, shouldn't you be the one who is ashamed? You, who worked side by side with the Academia and treated people as nothing more than experimental subjects.
Please, please stop!
Bien.
Even now, Sataria's still trying to run from her problems.
Me pasé de la
She
raya.
can no longer justify everything to herself. Hey, she's trying to talk to the guards. What should we do?
Pues a ver.
This is the most important part of all. Quick, get ready.
Mercenary, you're a member of the Corps of 30, correct? Please help me pass a message to the Matcha right away. The situation in the city is getting out of control.
Please, try to remain calm, miss. Tell me what's happening in the city.
Heretics are infiltrating the city, and they've already converted many residents to their side.
Heretics? What kind of heresy are you talking about?
King Deshret. Many people I know have suddenly started believing in him, but he's long dead. It's impossible.
Miss Sataria, nothing is impossible.
You know my name?
King Deshret is immortal, and all who defy him will one day pay the price. You must face the truth, Sataria. You tread a treacherous path, and the longer you ignore it, the tighter the Academia's grasp on you will become, and the deeper you will be ensnared. Child of King Deshret, never forget that the desert that belongs to you lies elsewhere.
What's so strange about becoming a believer of the wise King Deshret? In fact, aren't you the strange one? The one who still can't pick a side?
What an absurd question. You make it sound like I should be ashamed for becoming a believer of King Deshret.
Sataria, why haven't you gone home?
Buah, qué tremendo, ¿no?
It seems that no matter where I run, I only keep finding more believers of King Deshret. I have to say, this is a familiar feeling. I've also been running from my guilt this whole time. Guilt over my part in the sage's plans, and from ignoring the letters from the children of my homeland. But no matter how much I may try to ignore or get rid of it, my guilt always comes back.
No es demasiado tarde para dar
You
la
won't
vuelta.
necessarily lose your research opportunities by facing the truth. Besides, did you really want to conduct your research while carrying such heavy feelings of guilt?
How do you know me so well? Are you truly just a believer of King Deshret? Or are you the god himself?
That's not important. The important thing is to pass judgment on the Academia and its sages, and to correct their mistakes. If you could provide some assistance in this matter...
Sí,
I've
venga, va.
actually never believed in the gods, but I've always believed in serendipity. Your appearance must be a fated opportunity for me to get out of this wretched situation. Please tell me, what can I do for you?
Genial, por fin la convencimos.
How much do you know about the sages' current activities?
I was just one of the designers for the massed dream harvest scheme, which is what happened around the Sub-Zero's festival, but I know very little about the full scope of the overall project. I'd assume that only staff with the highest clearance would have access to those confidential documents. I've just been working to meet the Grand Sage's specified requirements. However, there's something that's been really bothering me. I heard that a scholar who was previously expelled has returned to the city, and even the sages are still quite
Un
wary
proscrito al
of
que
him.
incluso los sabios
To fight
temen.
against the Academia, we will need to figure out the nature and the purpose of their work. Is there a way for us to get access to the confidential documents you mentioned?
It should be possible if we're willing to take some risks. After all, I'm an assistant to the Grand Sage, and I've been working on many tasks outside of the project. One thing, though, I won't be able to transfer the documents to you through the Akasha once I get my hands on them. The sages have always closely monitored all activities within the Akasha. Let me see... let's use the most primitive method. Send someone to pick up the documents tomorrow evening at the
Academia entrance. Wouldn't that be too conspicuous?
Don't worry about that. I assure you, this won't be a trap. I'm only suggesting this location because it'll draw more scrutiny for me to leave the Academia again. It'll be safest for me to distract the guards long enough to hand you the documents.
All right, I trust you.
So, if I were to successfully complete this task, would it mean I've atoned for my wrongdoings?
That'll depend on the judgment of the Dendro Archon.
The Dendro Archon. That's right. Her people are the ones we have endangered. As the god of wisdom, she's also the one responsible for judging and guiding the scholars. Maybe it's time for me to find a god to believe in.
Just as Nahida predicted, we've managed to bring Sataria to our side. The Traveler's execution was ingenious. He's the one who deserves all the praise. Well, now that we've made plans to meet again tomorrow evening, all we can do is pray for Sataria's mission to go off without a hitch.
Pray? But if we're going to pray to the gods, aren't we just praying to you? God of wisdom and guardian of the scholars?
No. The truth is the true guardian of scholars. I've always believed that. Anyway, let's meet again tomorrow evening at the Adventurers Guild.
Bueno, vamos avanzando. Pero todavía, bueno, espera hasta la noche del día siguiente a las 19 horas. Bueno, pues vamos a hacerlo. Lo malo es que no sé... Creo que no es a esta hora, es al día siguiente, porque ya eran las 3 de la madrugada, ¿no? Bueno, vamos a ver qué ocurre. Qué desgracia, tío. A ver. Qué desgracia, tío. Tengo que chuparme... No sé cuánto rato, tío. Muy triste este juego a veces. Tengo mala suerte yo con la hora. Tenemos que esperar otras 24 horas. Muy triste, la verdad. Muy triste. Y quiero hacer algo más, pero parece que... Es que no sé. Tengo miedo de activar una escena fuera de grabación o algo. A ver. De acuerdo. Sí.
Too slow.
Vale, pues ya hemos llegado.
Catherine, we're here! Oh, you are the other Catherine, right?
That's right. I suppose I'm the other Catherine in your mind.
No podemos llamarte simplemente Naida.
We're on a secret mission tonight, so we need to protect Catherine's identity.
Yep, Paimon's right. We cannot fully rule out the chance that the meetup tonight is just a trap. If something were to happen, my existence may be the only trump card we'll be able to play. After all, the academia should still be unable to confirm the existence of my consciousness in the outside world.
Yep, exactly. Just what Paimon was thinking.
Me cuesta creer que se te haya ocurrido a ti solita.
Anyway, enough about that. Let's just make sure to be on
¿No
our
te parece
guard.
que hay algo extraño?
What do you feel is off?
Este lugar está inusualmente
It's
tranquilo.
the middle of the night. Of course it's quiet. You're not getting paranoid, are you?
No, I think he's right. It really is a lot quieter than usual. If you look around, there seems to be fewer people on the streets. I'm not sure if this is the case for the entire city, though.
Huh. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe Sataria figured out a way to not only distract the guards, but also to get everyone to go to sleep early, just so we can exchange the documents in peace.
I also can't quite figure out why things feel a little off. But now that we're here, let's go ahead and meet her as we planned.
Well, regardless, as long as you're here with us, Paimon feels a little safer.
De acuerdo, curioso. Ve a la Academia de Sumeru, de acuerdo, ese es el objetivo ahora y estamos todavía como un héroe triunfante y tenemos que ir allí. Vale, pues entonces a esta zona no me quiero acercar. Hoy quiero hacer algo, queda poco ya. Son unos cofres que están en un lugar. ¿Pero dónde era, tío? Ah, aquí. Vale, pues... No me lo puedo creer. No me lo puedo creer, no puedo, tío. ¿Y si salgo? ¿Puedo irme de aquí? Un momento. Hostia, qué cerdos, que no me dejan. Va, pues esto hay que hacerlo ya, tío. Vaya tela, tío. Tampoco puedo ir hasta aquí. Tío. Señores, esto es una cagada, ¿eh? Bueno, pues nada. Estoy obligado. De acuerdo.
Let's hope it'll be this quiet in front of the academia, and that Sataria managed to distract all the guards.
Vale, tirón, buen tirón. De acuerdo, pues nada, el objetivo es seguir subiendo. Bueno, yo he hecho lo que he podido. Si el juego no quiere, pues no se puede, señores. Hostia, escena. Hostia, qué mal rollo, ¿no? Como si estuvieran todos poseídos, hipnotizados.
The triumphant hero returns at last. And to a rather spectacular welcome, even if I do say so myself.
You're outcast, expelled from the academia.
Indeed I am. Although these days they tend to call me the Doctor. If you're looking for your researcher friend, she has already been taken into confinement. With some basic caution, she could have discovered the listening device on her person. Clearly, she lacks the degree of rigor expected of a true scholar.
The people of Sumeru City. What have you done to them?
I simply made some minor adjustments to their Akasha terminals. Now they can deposit information directly into the subconscious. As you can see, all these lovely people now believe this traveler is a hero who has just saved the world. My experiment is a success. And now it seems they can no longer hold back their sheer adoration.
Oh no, what should we do? These are all just regular people. Leave now. You need to get out of here. But that guy's a Fatui Harbinger. We can't just leave you here. Nor can I abandon the people of Sumeru. Don't worry. We'll meet again outside of the city.
I see. You appear to have overridden their mental faculties with your own consciousness. To possess such a powerful mind, you must be the god of wisdom.
Buah, chaval. Ha aparecido por fin en pantalla Il Dottore. El doctor, el segundo de los 11. Qué pasada. Bueno, ¿qué ocurrirá ahí, eh? ¿Qué habrá ocurrido ahí? Porque esto ya...
This should be far enough. Paimon needs to catch her breath first. Is Nahida going to be okay? We only made it out because of her.
No estoy seguro, ese tipo era escalofriante.
Paimon wasn't counting on running into a new Harbinger here, let alone such a high-ranking one. That guy was number 2. So scary. He called himself the Doctor. Remember, Tainari told us about him. Sataria did say that someone who once got expelled from the academia came, and that even the sages are wary of him. Yep, sounds like she must have been
Este
talking
asunto es
about
más complejo de lo que
Yeah.
creímos.
Now that the Doctor's in the picture, we're no longer just dealing with the academia. They're in cahoots with the Fatui. But what are the Fatui after this time? Another Gnosis?
Primero tenemos que encontrar el modo de reunirnos con Nahida.
Things would be a lot easier with Nahida's help. Nahida said we'll meet again outside of the city. But we can't just keep waiting around, right?
Busquemos a otro posible implicado.
You mean...
Tignari.
Oh, right! Wasn't he invited by the sages to work on some project when we were staying with him in the Vidia forest? That has to be the same project. Even though he turned it down at the time, he might still know something. There's no time to lose. Let's go to Gandharvaville.
De acuerdo, pues ya está. Oh, el imaginario del doctor Dottore. De acuerdo. La mirada de cierto dios. Sí, bueno, esa es la siguiente misión. Primero el logro. El imaginario del doctor Dottore. Se ha visto como el héroe salvador del mundo por los ciudadanos bajo el control de Dottore. De acuerdo. La mirada de cierto dios. Tenemos que dirigirnos a la villa Gandharva, que está justamente ahí. Bueno, puedo irme ahora, ¿no? De acuerdo. Llevo 59 minutos. No sé si va a dar tiempo, pero me gustaría hacer algo, tío. Bueno, si tengo que tardar un poquillo más, pues va a tocar, es lo que hay. La vida está llena de sorpresas, señores, y tenemos que aprovecharlas. Puede salir bien, puede salir mal. Pero por lo menos que cambie algo. A ver. Vamos a ver. La entrada de aquí está por ahí, creo. De acuerdo. Buah, chavales, que no se me olvide tirar por la Shogun. Le quedan Hostia, mira ese tirón eterno. Vete a tomar por culo, tío. Que últimamente cuando me empiezo a poner a pelear en el juego pasa esto, tío. Yo no lo entiendo. En los primeros 100 vídeos no pasó nada. Ahora ya pasa siempre. Esto es lamentable, tío. Tengo una maldición en mis cojones, me parece. Vale. Con este evento súbito me la suda. A ver, Dilu, que espabila. Vale, creo que el tema estaba... Tírate. Casi me muero y todo de la caída. Bueno, llevamos una horita ya, Que no se me olvide tirar por la Shogun. Le quedaban, creo que 12 días. Todavía queda, pero coño, espero que no se me olvide. A ver, no tiene sentido que se me olvide. Estoy pensando en ella siempre, pero nunca se sabe. Vale, entonces la entrada que yo busco creo que era por ahí, justamente. Tiene pinta, no era aquí, pero... Sí, no es aquí, pero es aquí cerca. Que me parece que mis personajes... Yo creo que hoy por mi cuenta haré la misión de ascenso de rango de aventura. Tío, porque siento que... Ya puedo. Que estoy fuerte, tío, como para hacerlo. Pero antes quiero sacar un logro oculto, que es jodido, de derrotar a un samurái en menos de 30 segundos. Y eso, pues no sé, tío. Me costó mucho cuando lo intenté hace ya algún mes. Pero es que ahora mis personajes están más fuertes. No sé, tío, no sé. Primero lo probaré y si no, pues no sé qué haré. Ya veremos. Vale, aquí el tema está, creo que era por aquí dentro. Mira, champiñones. Estos champiñones son para escaramuch. Pero bueno, ya tengo suficientes, así que no me preocupa. Aquí es donde tenía que venir yo. Vale. Espero que se dejen de pegar tirones porque me estoy calentando. Aquí además hay una... No... Bueno, sí, hay una misión. Pero bueno, esa misión yo creo que ya la habré mostrado. De acuerdo. Investigar. El objetivo es... encontrar esto, correcto. Ah, no era... ¿Dónde estaba, tío? Tío, pero dale a la letra, joder. Necesito una flecha, O sea, alguien con arco, quiero decir. Vale, fuera. Vale, espabila, Naida. Vale, a ver. Vale, tío, seguro que me han tirado algo. A ver, ¿dónde coño estaba? Lo que estoy buscando es un electrógrano de esos, tío. Lo que sí voy a necesitar 100% es el arpa. Quita, coño. A ver. Bueno, voy a probar una cosa porque estoy viendo que no voy a poder hacer lo que yo quiero. Voy a tener que activar... Aquí hay algo para activar, Pero ese cofre se tiene que... conseguir de alguna forma, tío. Aquí dentro. Encima hay champiñones también. Aunque ya repito, ya tengo de sobra. Pero bueno, por si algún día sacan algún personaje que vuelva a requerir estos champiñones, pues... De acuerdo. Vamos a hacer esto. Bueno, a estas alturas supongo que ya los habréis visto, pero estoy planeando vídeos arriesgados. Vídeos que... yo qué sé. Supongo que ya los habréis visto. A ver. A ver.
The wind rises. Search forth.
Vale, intentaremos... No sé cómo coño voy a subir hasta ahí, tío, y voy a hacer lo que quiero. Creo que no puedo hacer nada, tío. Ya sí me han desaparecido, ¿cierto? Voy a tener que usar el arco. Voy a usar arco, tío. Esto es una mierda, de verdad. Cómo odio esto, tío, de verdad. Es odioso esto. A ver... Es que, no sé, seguramente hay otra zona con un jodido dendrógrano, pero es que no lo veo, coño. Y estoy aquí perdiendo el jodido tiempo porque el juego de mierda no me ayuda. A ver, me voy a poner arco. Arco con alguien, pero no sé con quién. Me da igual con quién realmente, o sea, ¿a quién quito? Voy a quitar momentáneamente a Diluc. Voy a poner temporalmente a Fischl. Necesito arco. A ver. Vale, vamos a intentar llegar hasta... No sé si voy a poder disparar desde aquí. Justamente ahí, va, coño. Imposible, ¿no? No voy a llegar, tengo que acercarme, tío. No sé cómo coño voy a hacer esto. Está muy jodido, tío. Hostia, esto me calienta los huevos, Me cabrea un poquito, la verdad. Va, coño. Vale, rápido, rápido, rápido. Vale, ahora dime que sí, tío. Vale, bien, coño. Vale, el cofre ese ya descartado. Eso es lo que yo quería. Vale, rápido, sube, 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 sube. No llego, tío, es que me cago en todo, colega. A ver. Joder, pero llega, tío, llega de una jodida vez. Que no es tan difícil, coño. Dios, qué paciencia hay que tener. ¿Cómo llego yo ahora? A ver, espabila. Menos mal, coño. Joder. 1 hora y 5 ya aquí haciendo el capullo. A ver. De acuerdo, esto es lo que yo quería. Ha costado, venga. Bueno, cofre descartadito, ¿de acuerdo? Voy a ver qué tenía apuntado en el mapa. Cofre verde y usar dentro inferior. Creo que esto fuera ya, entonces. Vale, voy a quitar... A ver, llevo 1 hora y 6, tío. Pero es que lo que quería hacer tampoco era solamente esto. Voy a ver si tirándome... No sé abajo que me va a encontrar, pero... ¿Hay un brillo allí? Ah, no, eso es... Nada. De acuerdo, a ver. Aquí hay cacas, caquitas. Bueno, estos son durazno olivas, pero ya tengo muchas, tío. Realmente esto ya me da igual. A estas alturas... Mira, champiñón. Yo lo cojo, porque ya que estoy aquí... Y dentro había otro, creo. Lo sabía. De acuerdo, entonces ahora el objetivo es llegar hasta aquí. No me acuerdo cómo llegaba, tío. O sea, no sé si era por arriba o por el este. Bueno, voy a intentar matar a estos, ya que estamos, básicamente. Solo por eso, porque estamos aquí. Si no... De acuerdo. Es que ahora no sé cómo llegaba al sitio que estoy buscando encima, tío. Es increíble esto. A ver... Por aquí no hay nada, eso seguro. Que por cierto, esto... Vale, creo que aquí puedo hacer otro puzzle. Y esto eran puertas oníricas. Así que voy a hacer el puzzle este. Y me lo quito de encima. Pero lo voy a dejar ya, Habrá que seguir este lugar en otro momento. De acuerdo, vamos a hacer esto. Hay que empezar... así. Tío, ¿por qué salen enemigos? Voy a ignorarlos. Hay que recoger muchas semillas, A ver. ¿No? ¿No se tiene que tocar la flor? De acuerdo. Bueno, hay que seguir simplemente el camino este, tío. Pero no he cogido esta. Y me he dejado una atrás, pero bueno, no pasa nada. Vale, otro champiñón. A ver, cerdos. Esta la puedo activar. No me deja, tío. No puedo utilizar... Ah, sí, coño, estoy un poco empanado, me parece. A ver, un momento. ¿A dónde tendría que ir yo ahora? Por aquí. De acuerdo. Yo no prometo nada, No prometo que esto vaya a salir bien, la verdad. No prometo nada. Llevamos 11. Vale, aquí dentro está la 12 y me había dejado una atrás, 12, 13. Exacto, 14. Y la que me he dejado... ¿Dónde coño era, tío? Creo que no es por aquí. Que por cierto, aquí hay un objeto. Vale, la que me he dejado estaba por allí. Estaba por ahí delante, tío. O sea, estaba cerca de aquí. Que no sé por qué coño me la he dejado. ¿Veis? Aquí está. Bueno, hemos superado esto, pero lo voy a dejar ya, ¿de acuerdo? Corre, coño. Bien, hecho. Bueno. Y esto ya teníamos el 100% de este lugar, pero bueno. Vale, puerta. Voy a poner puerta hecha, ¿de acuerdo? Pero bueno, a ver, sí que hay más. Hay un sitio, pues que no me acuerdo cómo se llegaba ahora. Porque aquí hay otra entrada. Y quizás sea desde el agujero este, en lugar desde esta entrada. Pero yo sé que aquí dentro a lo mejor hay algo más. Voy a intentar revisar, pero... Vale, aquí hay otro cofre, un momento. Vamos a intentar recogerlo. Luego ya se revisará el tema. Dale, anda, dale. Lo malo es que está ahí arriba, el capullo, tío. Pero baja, coño, baja. Ponte a Dilu, coño. Pero no mueres, coño, muérete, capullo. De acuerdo. Bueno, pues bien, bien, bien. Al menos nos hemos quitado dos cosas de encima, pero se está alargando mucho esto ya, ¿eh? A ver, cerdo, que no me des. Vale, se acabó ya, venga. De acuerdo, entonces aquí había otro cofre que voy a apuntar. Cofre, creo que es un cofre valioso. O sea, cofre V hecho. Vale, a ver, ¿qué más? Pues algo más, tío, algo más hay seguro. Un momento, ¿aquí a dónde llegaba yo? Voy a seguir este camino porque ya tengo hasta curiosidad. Ah, creo que era por aquí a donde yo quería ir. Vale, bien, 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 bien. Pues ya que estoy aquí, me la suda todo. Voy a hacer esto, ¿de acuerdo? A ver, voy a hablar con ellos. Sí, no voy a leer, solo voy a hablar. Porque aquí hay una misión que no me acuerdo el nombre ahora, pero transcurría aquí. Y tras acabar la misión hay algo más que se puede hacer. Entonces, ese es mi objetivo. Vale, algo ha pasado, ¿veis? No sé el qué, pero algo ha pasado. Vale, voy a intentar derrotar la maquinaria eterna. Por algún motivo me dejan enfrentarme a ella otra vez. Así que voy a intentarlo. Bien. La verdad es que siento que estoy jodidamente fuerte, pero quiero llegar al 90 ya, Quiero subirlos al 90, tío. Se está alargando mucho el vídeo ya, Se está alargando mucho. Vale, cuidado que ya no le saco vida porque ahora va a poner a los otros. Hay que matar a uno y ya está. A ver, el que tenga la salud sobre él es el que hay que matar. ¿Cuál es? Vale, es este. De acuerdo. Ah, vale, ya está, joder. Vale, primero, pum. Cambia a Kokomi, por Dios. Y se acabó. Vale, nos dan un cofre. ¿Algo más? Venga. Bueno, estos son logritos. Bueno, logritos, son cofrecitos. Va a alargarse el vídeo, Me la suda, señores. Me la suda todo ya. ¿Qué le voy a hacer ya a estas alturas? Así que... Pero me lo quiero quitar de encima. Porque hoy no voy a poder conseguir lo que quiero, pero a ver si para el siguiente vídeo sí. ¿De acuerdo? De acuerdo. Bien. Tío, deja de lanzarme esa mierda, tío. Cánsate, ¿no? ¿O qué pasa? Vale, cuidado que ya no le hago daño. Así que volvemos a lo de antes. Supongo que ahora me dará un cofre sofisticado. Y a ver quién es el que tiene la vida puesta. Vale, aquel pringao. Ven aquí. A ver, no tardo mucho en derrotarlos, afortunadamente. De acuerdo. Vale, ahora con Dilu voy a reventar. Y se acabó. De acuerdo, ya está, no me han dado más cositas. Vale. Nada, esto ya lo mismo, ¿eh? De acuerdo, entonces descartamos ya esto. Vale, pues ¿con quién me falta hablar? Con aquel, ¿no? De acuerdo. Bueno, pues esto lo voy a dejar, no aquí, pero aquí habrá que entrar, ¿de acuerdo? De momento así lo voy a dejar. Ya en el siguiente vídeo en algún momento se entrará. Lo voy a dejar aquí arriba, ¿de acuerdo? Ya veremos qué haremos, porque creo que puedo hacer una misión legendaria. Así que para el siguiente vídeo pues habrá una misión legendaria. Pero bueno, yo de momento me despido y no me enrollo más. Disfrutad de vuestros días, pero recordad sobre todo de vuestras noches. ¡Hasta la próxima!